Hello class, my name is Mr. Dennis of Samoa. I am the GRE tutor for Zest Consult. And in this lecture, we will be looking at the introduction of GRE, right? I want to believe that before registering for this particular class, you might have done some findings or some research on the GRE. So the GRE is basically the graduate record exam, right? This exam, when taken, can give you a full ride scholarship, right? So if you are able to take this exam and you get a very good score, you have or you stand the chance of getting a full scholarship or a scholarship to study abroad, right? So what we are going to look at is what goes into the GRE or what the GRE entails, right? So the GRE has three sections. We have the verbal reasoning section. 2, we have the analytical. Writing. Remember I said we have three sections, and the last section is the quantitative reasoning. Good. So just as I said, the GRE has three sections. We have the verbal reasoning section, we have the analytical writing section, and the last section, which is the quantitative reasoning section. Under the verbal reasoning section, this is the English aspect of the GRE, right? So what goes into the verbal reasoning section is that I initially said that it is the English aspect of the GRE. So the verbal reasoning section again is the English aspect of the GRE, and it consists of three question types. We have the first question type to be the test completion, the second to be sentence equivalence, and the last to be the reading comprehension type of question. Under the test completion, this is where a question is given to you with a blank space, right? A question will be given to you with a blank space, and you will need to select your answer from the list of options given to you in the question, right? In the GRE, for the question types under the test completion, we have a question with only one blank space, we have a question with two blank spaces, and the last question type with three blank spaces, right? So that's under the test completion. Again, more light to be thrown on these question types as we move on. The second question type is the sentence equivalence. This is where again a question is given to you with a blank space, but the idea of this question type is where you'll be given 6 options, right? The 6 options, we want the two options in the question which is synonymous. We know what a synonym is, right? Words which are similar in meaning. Not just that, but these two words must be able to fit the blank space. It should make sense, right? Good. I'll be giving you the opportunity to ask questions soon. And the last section is the reading comprehension. Back at our JHS and our SHS class, we had reading comprehension. This is where a passage was given to us and there were some questions for us to answer on them. So just like we had in our JHS and our SHS class, a passage will be given to us in the GRE and we'll be answering questions on the passage given to you, right? Again, more light to be thrown on it. I'm just giving you a fair idea of what the 3 sections entail. Then we come to the analytical writing. The analytical writing is the essay part of the GRE. This is where you have 2 essays to write, right? two essays will be given to you. We have one, issue tax. And the second one, we have the argument tax. Good. So the analytical writing assesses your ability to write out or to speak out your opinions, right? Very good. So under the analytical writing, I said we have two sections or two parts of the analytical writing. We have the first one to be the issue tax and the second argument tax. Under the issue tax, this is where you write out your opinions on a topic, a specific topic given to you, right? So a topic will be given to you for you to write on, just as we did back in our SHS and our JHS class. I like to always refer us back to where we started from. We are given a topic to write on, right? This is where a topic will be given to you, a topic on arson, scandal, high rate of unemployment and all that, right? For you to write on. But what you are supposed to do under the issue tax is that you are to take a stance, right? This is where you'll be told to write in agreement of the topic or to write to disagree with the topic or the claim given to you, right? So a topic will be given to you. You are to write to support or to agree with the topic given to you, or to write to disagree with the topic given to you, right? Then we come to the argument tax. For the argument tax, a claim or an argument will be presented to you, right? What you need to do is, here you don't have to write your own opinions. Is that clear? You need to follow specific instructions given to you in the topic. Again, a passage or a claim will be given to you for you to answer or for you to respond to it, right? So what you need to do is that you need to follow the specific instructions given to you in the topic. Remember, you are not writing out your opinions. What you are doing is, there are certain or specific things in the topic you are supposed to look out for. One is the main assertion or the main conclusion. I will explain it to you guys. The next is the pieces of evidence in the argument or claim given to you. Then the last one is the unstated assumption, right? The main assertion or the main conclusion, which is the first, the pieces of evidence, and the last one, the unstated assumption, right? For the main conclusion or assertion, this is what the whole passage or argument is about. After reading the whole argument, what does it conclude on? That is the main assertion or conclusion, right? Then the pieces of evidence, what are the facts supporting the argument? Those are the pieces of evidence in the passage given to you. Then the last one, which is the unstated assumption. As the name implies, unstated assumption. This is what is not stated clearly in the argument, right? It is not clearly stated in the argument, but you have to do what? Reason them out, as the name implies, or as the name implies, unstated assumption. They are not stated there, but you need to reason them out using the pieces of evidence, which are like the facts in the argument, to reason them out, right? So that is that for the analytical writing. Then we come to the math aspect of the GRE, which we call the quantitative reasoning. The math aspect of the GRE, quantitative reasoning. Under the quantitative reasoning, we are going to look at the four main topics in math. We have the arithmetic, we have the algebra, we have geometry, and the last one, data interpretation or data what? Analysis. Under these four main topics, there are subtopics we are going to look at, right? Because of time, I will not really delve deep into it, but these are the four main topics with subtopics we are going to treat under the quantitative reason, which I said is the math aspect of the GRE. But let us look at the question types for the math aspects of the GRE. We have the quantitative, comparison, question type. We have the numeric entry. We have the multiple choice type of question. So one thing we need to know about the quantitative reasoning is the question types, right? For the question types, we have quantitative comparison. Again, as the name implies, you are comparing two things. What are you comparing? For the quantitative comparison, an example is a question like this can be given to you where you have quantity A and quantity B. So let us assume under quantity A we have the number 6, and under quantity B we have the number 4, right? Good. For the quantitative comparison, we are comparing these two quantities, quantity A and quantity B. And for you to understand this very well, we are going to consider the options. We have A, B, C, and D. For the A, B, C, and D, I'm using this as an example where quantity A we have 6, quantity B we have 4. For option A to be the correct answer, it means quantity A is greater than quantity B. For quantity B to be the correct answer, it means B here is greater than A, quantity A. For C to be the answer, it means both quantities are equal. And for D to be the answer, it means the relationship between the two quantities cannot be determined. The relationship between the two quantities cannot be determined. I want to go over that again. For A to be the answer, it means quantity A is greater than the one it is being compared with, which is the quantity B. For quantity B to be the answer, it means quantity B is greater than quantity A. For C to be the answer, option C to be the answer, it means both quantities are equal. And the last option, which is the option D, it means there is no relationship between the two quantities given to you, right? So that is that for the quantitative comparison question type, where two quantities are given to you, quantity A and quantity B. Then you'll be asked to compare the two quantities, right? Sometimes you'll be given a centered information, which we call preamble, right? You're going to use the preamble to solve the questions to find an answer. Remember, if option A is the correct answer, it means option quantity A is greater than quantity B. If B is the correct answer, it means quantity B is greater. When C is the answer, it means both quantities are equal. And the last option D, which means the relationship cannot be determined between the two quantities given to you, right? Then we move on to the next question type, which is the numeric entry. Under the numeric entry, a question will be given to you with a box or with a blank space for you to insert or type out your answer into that box or blank space given to you. An example is, let's say you are given 4 plus 6, and you have a box like this. Forgive me for the way I have written on the board. And so this question type demands that you type out or write out your answer in this box or blank space given to you. So we all know 4 plus 6 to be what? Anybody with an answer? 10. Very good. So then you insert or you type out your answer into the blank space. One thing I haven't mentioned to you is that the GRE is a computer-based exam. Everything is done on the computer, so you will not have to write it. Of course, a scratch sheet or a paper will be given to you for you to do your rough work on them, right? But you will have to do everything on the computer. So you will insert your answer after you are done with this calculation. So that is that for the numeric entry type of question. Then we come to the multiple choice type of question. Using the same example, what do I clean? Using the same example, we have 4 plus 6, and for A, option A, B, C, then D. Option A is, let's say, 2. We have option B to be 5, option C to be 10, and the last option to be, let's say, 12. Obviously, the question is given to you, and you have to select an answer from these options given to you. Clearly, we know that the answer is 10, so you select option C, which is 10, to be your answer. That is up for the multiple choice type of question, right? Good. So under the multiple type of questions, there are instances where you select more than one answer. So for the GRE, you will come across something like this, using the same example again. So we have this oval, that oval, another oval, and the options 2, 4, 10, 12, right? Whenever you see an oval shape attached to the option given to you, know that you are selecting only one type, or you are selecting only one answer. Sorry, you are selecting only one answer. But an instance where a question is given to you, and beside the options given to you, there are boxes. Usually, you have 6 options there. There are boxes. It implies that you select more than one answer. So please take note of this. Probably there is more than an answer in the question given to you, so you would have to select more than one. Usually 2 or 3, depending on the question. Right? Very good. Up to this point, is there any question you would want to ask? Probably we will delve deep into it as we progress, but this is just to give you a fair idea of what you are supposed to treat under the GRE. Is there any question you'd want to ask? Probably before coming to class, you read on something you would want to share before we move on. Anybody to do that before we progress? Anybody? If there is nobody, then let us take probably start with the verbal reasoning, right? The verbal reasoning section of the GRE. Remember, under the verbal reasoning section, I said we have 3 classifications of the question types. We have the, can you guys give me a marker? Godfrey, please give me a marker. So verbal reasoning. It's all good. Yeah. Remember, I said this is the English aspect of the GRE. And I said that under the verbal reasoning, we have 3 question types we are supposed to look at. We have the reading comprehension, the text completion, and the last one, sentence equivalence, right? So we will start with the reading comprehension. But before I go on, I'm sure 1 or 2 of you have a fair idea of what the reading comprehension is, or what a comprehension is. Probably tell me some of the things you know about comprehension. Anybody? Okay, Kelvin.
Okay, so you'll be reading a passage and you are supposed to read the passage, understand and answer some questions.
Okay, that's good. Any other person?
Okay, with the reading comprehension, so I think you will have a sort of options that you'll be allowed to choose from.
Yeah.
So after reading the passage and then understanding everything about it, you don't understand everything, but then what they expect you to understand.
Okay.
You read it to answer your question.
Very good. Very good. So you guys are right. A passage will be given to you for you to read and answer the questions that follow, right? So it is very similar, or it is just the same as the ones we treated in our JHS and our SHS class. This is where a question will be given to you for you to answer after reading the passage, right? Very good. So every comprehension has got some important things you have to take note of, right? So for comprehension questions, for you to read the passage and understand, I want to borrow a reading process we use in the IELTS exam, right? We call the process, there are two processes actually. We have the skimming and the scanning for the GRE. For most books, you are not likely to see this approach in the books, but I think once you go by this approach, it is likely you are going to get the right answers, right? Because again, the GRE focuses on bigger words. So, as part of the things, maybe let me include vocabs here. Vocabs. This is very important. Even the passage which will be given to you, realize that you come across a lot of vocabs, bigger words. Some you do know the meaning to them, others you don't. So I will entreat you guys to start learning your vocabs. It is very important. So a way to go about this is using the skimming and the scanning approach, right? So skimming is the process of what? It's a reading process. A reading process where you read to get a general overview of the passage given to you or the information given to you. So we skim to get a general overview of what the passage is about or the information is about. Then you scan to fish out the important details or facts in the information or the passage given to you. So you skim to get a general overview, then you scan to get the important facts or details in the passage given to you. This is one approach I think when we use, it is likely we are going to get our answers correct, right? So you need to first of all read the passage to get a fair idea of what the passage is talking about. Of course, back at our JHS in our SHS class, what we were doing was the moment we see the passage, we first of all go to the questions. Probably we know that it is likely the answer to question number 1 is in the first paragraph or the first line or the first sentence. That is what we were doing. But in the GRE, it is not like that. So you will have to first of all read to get a proper understanding of what the passage is talking about before you proceed, right? Good. So skim always to get a general overview or a fair idea of what the passage is talking about. Then after getting a general overview of what the passage is talking about, my approach to solving the questions is you have to at least look at the question, right? Have a fair idea of what the question is also asking you to do, right? Then based on the questions that are asked, you can easily scan for the important details. So a passage is given to you, you first of all have to read to get a proper understanding of what the passage is talking about or get a fair idea of what the passage is talking about. Then after doing that, come and look at the question. The question will help you scan or fish out for the important details. Sometimes you will not even consider looking at the questions before you scan. You can just, after skimming, you can just scan, right? Another way to go about it is doing the two reading processes together, where whilst you are skimming, to save time, you scan at the same time. So you skim and scan at the same time. It is possible, right? To save time. So you first of all have to read again to get a general overview of it, right? Every comprehension or every passage has got some important things you have to look out for. Look for one, the main idea or purpose of the passage. 2, I'm taking us back to our GHS and our ICHS class. Anybody to help us with the second one? Anybody? Are we saying we didn't do comprehension questions in our GHS and our ICHS class? Even in the university, we looked at some questions on the comprehension. Anybody to help us with the second thing to consider when reading when you focusing on the reading comprehension? Yeah, Abdul Karim.
Information specifically mentioned in the passage.
Exactly. These are details mentioned specifically in the passage. That's a very good one. So, information mentioned in the passage, or details mentioned in the passage. This is a very good one. Any other person? Yeah, go for it.
The tone of the other.
Very good. The tone or the mood. Tone/mood. I'm sure there's more. Anybody? Probably let's consider the last one. Yeah, Kelvin.
So you need to look for certain information that is not actually stated in the facts. Okay, they are not actually stated in the past facts. The person talks about it.
Okay, so you want to say information implied. That is after reading the passage, what you can get from the passage, right? So let us write that as information implied or information inferred from the passage. So information implied or inferred. Please check the spelling of the inferred for me. Good. So back to the first point, the main idea or purpose of the passage. This is very important. This is the reason why you are skimming and scanning. The general question is, if you are not careful, you get everything wrong. So you need to really skim and scan. What are you skimming and scanning for? To get the main idea, then to get the information mentioned specifically. So look at this as the scanned information. Scanned information. Good. The information mentioned specifically in the passage. Then the tone or what? Mood of the passage or the author. Back at GHS, a question like this will be asked, and it was likely you choose indifference or something, right? Yes, so you need to know the tone or the mood of the what? Of the author. It is very important. Questions are asked on them. Very good. Then the last one is the information implied or inferred from the passage. These are things which are not mentioned specifically in the passage given to you, but after reading, these are things you can reason them out. These are things you know that this is what the passage is trying to tell us. Those are the information implied or inferred from. So it is likely you have questions based on these four things: the main idea or purpose of the passage, the information mentioned in the passage given to you. You come to the information implied or inferred from the passage. Then the last one, the mood or the tone of the passage. These are four important things you have to fish out for when you are considering the reading comprehension. Remember, a passage is given to you, you quickly skim and scan for the important details in the passage. While skimming and scanning, remember you are looking for these four things: the main idea or purpose of the passage, the information mentioned in the passage, the mood or tone of the passage, and the last one, the information implied from the passage. Up to this point, is there any question you want to ask concerning the reading comprehension? Any question? I'm sure we are going to get a better understanding of it once we take a passage and we start to delve deep into it or answer the questions under the passage. But up to this point, is there any question you want to ask? Probably something you want to add up to this before we take an example to explain all these things: the main idea, the purpose, and the rest. Any question before we proceed?
Okay. So during the exam,
Yeah.
is it that you're going to only giving just a passage or can giving two or three passages in just a test?
That's a very good question. I would have mentioned that, but once you asked, let me just answer you. So you are not going to be given only one passage. Likely, you are going to get three passages, three different passages to answer questions on. Again, you're probably going to answer questions on these four things. So just prepare for that. Some of the passages are very short, others are lengthy. So you just have to Look out for that. But this is very important, the vocabs, because sometimes they use some big words in the passage that you just have to understand or know the word before you'll be able to answer the questions. So this is the time you have to practice more on the vocabs. Learn the new words which have been shared with you. Learn it every time and every day. Yes. Any other question before we take the example? Okay, so if there are no questions, I'd like to proceed to share my screen, then share a question for us to look at under the reading comprehension.